This is Big D, Little D. This is our podcast. We're lifelong Canuck fans. Lifelong. So we decided, we've heard all these people talk about the Canucks and whole bunch of stuff like analytics, Corsi and stuff. And we are sick and tired of that. We just want to talk straight as fans to fans. And this is our thing.
Yeah, I get a lot of people asking me, my opinion on Canucks. People that know me know that I'm a passionate Canucks fan, and people that don't know me or recognize me, maybe they'll ask me my opinion on the Canucks. And so that's what we hope this show is going to be all about.
First topic we're going to discuss is the penalty kill.
Yeah, going back to last season under Travis Green, historically low, bad penalty kill. On pace last year under Green to be the worst penalty kill in the history of the league. Improved somewhat when Boudreau came over. The biggest changes was putting a guy like Elias Pettersson on the penalty kill, Quinn Hughes on the penalty kill, rather than the third and fourth line players who back in my day, it was always the third and fourth line guys were your penalty killers. And
yeah, your defensive players,
yes,
right?
And now it's changed that, but it's still bad. This penalty kill is still historically bad. It's the same personnel they had under Boudreau last year. I'm not sure what it is.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. Their defense. Their defense is bad. And this year particularly, it's not even the defense. Demko is not bubble Demko.
Well,
right? So
they always say your best penalty killer is your goaltender.
Yeah, and he's not been, the best player. He's had difficulties for whatever reasons. I don't want to get into it. I have my opinions. I'll share them with you guys later. But that's the thing. And the other thing is, I don't want Quinn Hughes on the penalty kill. He's a great offensive player. Defensively, let Shen on there. Yeah. Let a OEL. Even Myers, now they got Ethan Bear, get those guys on the penalty kill. I don't want to see Quinn Hughes on there. Save him. He plays enough, save him for the offensive stuff. Right?
And my issue with those guys on the penalty kill is you want penalty killers blocking shots. Do you want Pettersson and Hughes and guys like that blocking shots?
They're not going to. They might, but...
I noticed highlights of the Edmonton game last night. They showed Connor McDavid scoring on a shorthanded goal, and they're like, "Well, that's why you put your best players on the penalty kill." And no, you're not supposed to. You put your best players on the penalty kill to kill the penalty, not to score. You put your best. You want to kill the penalty. You don't put them out there to score goals. Your objective is to kill that penalty off, not score goals. So there's no need to have your best players out there on the penalty kill.
My other thing is, why is JT Miller on the penalty kill? He might be good off, on the face-off or something, but this year he's just been so bad at turnovers. You just, I don't want to see Brock Boeser on the penalty kill. There's so many people that you like. I don't mind, putting your fourth liner on there because they know that's why they're in the league for, to prevent goals. They'll do a good job. Give your top guys a little rest. Maybe with their last, 30 seconds, okay, you put a Patterson or somebody else. I like Horvat. He's good on the face-offs. But other than that,
Horvat and Miller are awful penalty killers. They're just not good at it.
They're good at the face-offs.
But not at killing penalties itself.
Yeah, once they got the face-off, just,
back
get
to the
them
bench.
Out. Yeah, get the fourth liners. It's pretty simple to me what you got to do. And first of all, you got OEL playing with, I don't know who it is. Now he's playing with Ethan Bear. I think he's playing a little better, right? You got Myers. You put him with somebody like Burrows. He plays a little better, right? If you need to, as a second pair defenseman for your, what is it called? Put Myers on there, right?
And Stillman can kill penalties.
Stillman, I'm not sold on Stillman. I'm thinking, if you have a choice between Stillman and Burrows,
obviously, right? But I mean, the only defenseman I really don't want killing is Hughes, right? And maybe Myers. My issue with Myers is he's so big and gangly and tall. He gets a puck stuck in his feet too much. If he played a simple game, it would be. And the penalty kill is simple. Just get the puck down the ice, right? So.
Well, you gotta also they don't force the puck. They just sit there, let them just move it around. And if one guy actually goes after the guy, pressures him, the other guys are just standing there, so it's an easy pass to the other people. So I don't know exactly what's going on there, but it's just like they're all out of sorts there. So
I'll take a gamble at it. The thing I think with the Canucks penalty kill is most teams try a diamond formation, and they're either too tight, which meaning they're too tight to each other and into their goaltender, or they're too high, meaning you got that high penalty killer close to the blue line. And that was fine back in the day when you had the power play had two defensemen on, like McInnes and Suter, passing the puck back to set it up. That one guy could get a lot of get that long stick and maybe get a breakaway. But with the way power plays are now, I think you can't be too tight, and you can't have a guy up high. I'm not even big on that diamond formation. I haven't looked into it anymore, but whatever it is, it's not working for the Canucks.
Well, the other thing is, your fourth liners don't play much. Get them on there. I have no problem with that. At the last 30 seconds, 40 seconds, or whatever it is, later on in the penalty, you want to put in your, what is it called? Your stars, your Bo Horvats, and what is called Pattersons in there. I'm okay with that. Maybe with the less than, 10 seconds or something, put a Hughes on there. But other than that, I'm like, just let the stay-at-home guys kill the penalties.
Absolutely. Yeah. The Jack Studnikas. Those guys that's how come those guys are in the league. They make their living at checking and killing penalties. Yeah. We can go back to my era. A guy like John McIntyre. John McIntyre played for the Canucks. And, I mean, that guy just made his living killing penalties. Like, that's a defensive player who killed penalties. Like, that's how that guy's career was. That's how he made his living. And somewhere along the line,
I'm a Canuck fan, and I've never heard of John McIntyre in my life. I'm just seriously, I haven't. That's how much I pay attention to penalty kills. It's usually the Settlebauers and the Tony Tantis and those guys. Like Harold Snaps. You got a guy like Harold Snaps back there. He's going to clear the front of the net. That's Shen does that. Yeah, he'll clear the front of the net. Whatever. But that being said, the penalty kill is not going to get any better. And one of the big reasons, I think, is they never improved their defense, right? I mean, Ethan Bear is good. I like that addition. Riley, I'm not sold on him.
Well, my big thing is this is why they signed a guy named Mikheyev. Now, that guy's a tremendous skater, probably the best skater on the team. He had 4 or 5 shorthanded goals with the Leafs last year. The whole point of signing that guy was to use him on the penalty kill. I haven't seen enough of him in Toronto. I don't watch Leaf games, so...
What?
I know. Unless they're playing the Canucks, right? But
you can't miss a Leaf game. It's all over TV.
But I haven't seen enough of this guy play to see that. But I know he got injured in training camp, and he's off to a late start. He's about a month behind everybody.
Have you seen him on the penalty kill?
I haven't seen him on the penalty kill.
I've seen him sporadically, not very often.
I've heard the chat, people saying, like, get this guy on the penalty kill. That's what he was brought in for. And he killed penalties with the Leafs.
Yeah, well, I think a fast guy like that, and he's good defensively. Yeah, give him a shot, right?
Right.
The other topic I want to get onto is Thatcher Demko. Sorry, I can't read. So let's talk a little bit. Your thoughts on that? Why is he struggling?
Well, I was a goaltender myself.
Were you?
For many years. Not very good.
Okay.
I mean,
so you're like Patrick.
I would jump out of the...
Why do you keep calling him Patrick? Thatcher Demko.
Yeah,
I'll just call him Demko.
I call him Thatcher as his last name, but no.
Demko is his last name. Okay, we might be a little drunk here.
The California kid, we'll call him, from San Diego. Okay. He was really, that bubble year in Edmonton was his best. I mean, he couldn't get anything by him. Last year, he was good. This year, he started off bad, and I know confidence is everything with a goaltender. and it didn't help that they kept losing and losing under him. You have a couple of bad games, give up some bad goals that cost your hockey team the game, and you're right back out there. And when it snowballs. And I would have, if I was coaching, I would have made some changes in goal early there to try and keep that from happening with him.
Last year, what I noticed when he had a bad game, and he get a day off, right? He get a day off, and he worked with the goaltending coach,
Ian Clark.
Ian Clark. So, and he come back, he's a lot better. Mind you, early in last year, he had some tough games. He got 7 goals scored against what's called Avalanche last year. So he had some tough starts last year as well. But after he worked with Ian Clark, he used to come back a little better. And then he got the confidence. Then he just like stood on his head again. But my main concern with him is they're playing him too much. I know they don't have full confidence in their backup, right? But there's a reason why he's your backup, and it's so when your goalie struggles, you go to him, right? So,
well, when it comes to playing too much, you can never play a goaltender too much. Back in the day, goaltenders played 65, 70. Even they're playing 80 games.
Yeah, but the goaltenders nowadays are like huge. Right?
Yeah, but the style doesn't. I've always been a proponent of playing goaltenders more. The more you play them, the better they're going to be.
Like when they're struggling, you can't always play out of a
slump like that.
Yeah, you can't play out of it all the time. And I'm like, if the guy's struggling, give him a couple games off, and say, hey, you're still number one, but we're coming back to you. Get your stuff, work with the goaltending coach. And goaltending coach, unless the goaltending coach is saying he's good, and then I don't know, maybe if the goaltending coach is saying he's good,
I'm sorry.
Right, so
we can edit that out.
No, we can't.
Oh, okay.
It's going on.
But speaking of goaltending coach Ian Clark, like everyone says he's great. I went to hockey school years ago at the University of British Columbia. Ian Clark was the instructor. I was young then. I don't remember much about him, but my issue with Ian Clark is you see him at training camp and he has gel in his hair. Like, this guy's a goalie coach, man. It's like, you know what? You're on the ice. You don't need gel in your hair. Like, what kind of guy? That tells you how vain the guy is and how he thinks about goaltending. I'm old school. Where let me get my point across. I'm old school where the goaltending coach was like a Clint Malarchuk in Calgary at the time, where you would have that banter. It wasn't about, the X's and O's down on the ice. A goaltending coach's job was to talk to that goalie, get in his head where you could understand each other because you've played the position. Nowadays, it seems it's rolled to be more, X's and O's down on the ice.
No, my thing is, like, I didn't realize your, what's his name?
Ian Clark.
No, forget that. I've had the Yankee, what is it called, guy? Steinbrenner. Oh. You got to cut your hair and you got to do it that. I don't care if he has gel in his hair. I don't care what the hell he does. As long as he gets the goalies playing well. And for the last couple of years, he had Markstrom playing well. He's got Demko playing well. This year, I don't blame the goaltending coach at all. I think my personal opinion, and this is just my opinion, and take it for what it's worth. Opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got it, so don't get all bent out of shape, right? So, he got married. When you get married, you got other stuff going on. And I don't want to say his wife is
blaming his wife for performance this year?
I'm blaming my wife. That's all I know. I blame my wife for everything. So maybe that, but no, I'm just saying, when you go home, like, you have other obligations. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to take out the garbage. When you're a single person, you don't always have that. You could do whatever you want. And the best point about that is when he's in the bubble, he has nobody. He's just dialed into hockey, and he played the best there.
Yeah, you got a point there. He played his best hockey with no distractions, right?
Exactly. So I'm not saying you could live the whole NHL season like that, but I'm just saying maybe that's a little thing. That's just my little, 2 cents. I don't know if it's worth it, but, take it for what it's worth.
Oh, the way he's played this year, it's worth trying something.
I'm glad he got, I'm not saying I'm glad he got injured, but he's got some time to rehab, to get his head straight.
And it's all in his head right now, right? Like, one bad goal leads to, next thing you know, you're down.
It doesn't help that he doesn't got anybody in front of the net. You got the last goal that he got scored on him, 4 shots, and the defenseman didn't touch the puck at once.
Giving up early goals. Early in the game, early in each period. It's a trend that goes back to not just last year, but it goes, and not just under the green Jim Benning regime, but this goes back a lot of years with the Canucks, and you're constantly playing from behind, and whether they're, my dad and I will debate, well, is it the goalie's fault? Is it the team's fault? Are they not ready? If they're not ready, is that up to the coach? Is that up to the players? But it's consistent, happening far too often in Vancouver.
So that just tells you there's a problem with the chemistry, or maybe they should shake up the team a little bit, get rid of some of the people on the court just to, bring in new blood. That's what I think.
Yeah, because when that's happening and you're not ready, that the coach can get you ready. And it was the same under Green, right? They weren't ready. So there's an issue there. I just think it's preparation. I think it's exactly like you. I think it's the players. I think it's lack of preparation or lack of taking things serious.
The country club thing that everyone's talking about.
Yeah, and this game of soccer, how they warm up doesn't help either, right? So
everybody does it. Don't blame soccer.
Well, no, I'm blaming soccer. So.
Hey, it's World Cup's going on.
I'm blaming soccer.
No, it's football. It's football. I'm going to get somebody complaining, it's football, it's not soccer.
Well, anyways, whatever it is, they're not prepared to start the game.
Well, I think
it's killing this team.
My sense is you got to, as much as I like Horvat, and I like it, if he has to go just to shake up the team, you got to change it up. You can't keep the same thing. What's that thing where they say you keep doing the same thing?
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results.
Exactly. That's what it is. So the same players. I love Horvat. I wish that he could stay here. He's a great captain, great person. On the other hand, you should get a lot for him.
Well, this is turning into a Horvat.
But they did that with Miller last year, and they got nothing. But this is
getting into a Horvat situation. Our thing was historically bad starts.
Yeah. Now, who's the captain?
Well, you got a little off topic there, Peter. So
yeah.
Sometimes I have to, reel you in here.
Yeah, but who's the captain?
Bo's the captain,
and he's supposed to get the guys ready and
lead the guys. Yes,
yeah,
but Bo's not always the guy on the ice when that happens. I just think that I guess if I knew, I don't know. Why it happens, but it's lack of preparation. I think is the biggest thing, and because it's happened, in this organization for more years than it should have.
So you can't blame the coach.
No, you can't. It's not a coach's fault.
So who's left? The players?
The players, and the players aren't prepared.
Yeah, so why aren't they prepared? Is a different coach?
They're not.
So then you got to shake it up. You got to get rid of the core group here. You got to shake it up. Maybe keep a couple of them.
They have to be called out on it. They have to be called out on it. They have to be. If they're not ready to, they have to be accountable, and there's no accountability. And I think that's what preparation is it's accountability. And there's no accountability in this organization.
Well, I agree with that, but I think they got a new general manager, and as much as people don't realize it, it's Patrick Alvin. It's not Jim Rutherford.
Well, Alvin's the general manager per se.
Yeah.
But who's making the decision?
But every time you hear the general manager, and then they always say, "Oh, it's Rutherford," right? But Alvin's actually the guy. He might be a puppet, whatever you want to say, but
it's an interesting fact here about Rutherford is people talk about the success he had in Carolina. He was there for 20 seasons as general manager. They made the playoffs 5 of those 20 seasons.
They won a Stanley Cup.
They won a Stanley Cup of those 5 years. Yeah. But there means 15 years where they didn't make the playoffs. He won a Stanley Cup in Pittsburgh, but that was a different. You got Sidney Crosby and Geno Malkin and Chris Letang. I'm not so sure on this guy's success. People just talk about his success. When you go 15 out of 20 years and not making the playoffs.
How many Stanley Cups does he got?
1 in Carolina.
And how many Pittsburgh?
Well, that's Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Two,
so
three?
He got 3. 3 out of 20. That's great.
Yeah, but he wasn't in Pittsburgh for 20. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
But I know that's just my issue on that guy.
No, I have no problem with him. He's old school now. They're saying he's analytic and all that stuff, and I have no problem with that. It's just, it is what it is. I think it starts from the top down, and I don't know. You got different general managers, same problem. So is it the owner? Is the owners telling him what to do? Because they said they were going to, strip it down, and then go sign JT Miller. and they're under the cap gun again. And
Well, speaking of being under the cap, my big thing is you hear a lot of people. It doesn't matter what the cap. If you're under the cap next June, next July, it's the off season. You can be over the cap. You worry about that next year when next year rolls by. When you're looking to make improvements to your hockey team, I don't look at what's this guy's contract going to be in this next summer of 2023, and there seems to be that's an issue, and an issue. I'm going to go on a rant here. Yeah. An issue I've had with Mr. Rutherford. Oh, we tried to do this last summer for D. We tried to do that. Well, you can try all you want, but you can if you want to get a deal done, you can get a deal done. Just like this guy we're going to talk about named Tyler Myers.
Yeah, let's talk about him.
Well, it's easy that guy's, there's teams, surprisingly to me, there's teams that are interested in him. I've heard Toronto was interested in Anaheim. Or, not Anaheim, sorry, Ottawa. Yeah. What I had heard was the Ottawa deal was nixed by the Ottawa player not wanting to come to Vancouver.
Yep.
You'd have to move this guy, you'd have to either A, eat some salary, or B, throw a kicker in, meaning a draft pick. I'm not so sure of that. I would eat a little salary to get rid of it. I'd do whatever it takes to get rid of this guy. It's one of the worst contracts in hockey. Not the worst. That goes to my buddy, Mr. Darnell Nurse.
Oh, no, don't go on Darnell Nurse. No, we're not doing Darnell Nurse. We're talking Canucks.
Tyler Myers, well, that guy, he's big and tall. He's not fit.
He's a giraffe.
He is, but he reminds me a lot of Dan Hamhuis.
How does he remind you of Hamhuis? They're totally polar opposites.
No, it doesn't bring any offense. Doesn't bring any defense to the game, and not physical. A player has to contribute somehow. Eating up minutes is not.
When he gets physical, he gets in penalty trouble, right?
Yes, absolutely.
But when he isn't physical, he gets in penalty trouble as well. So,
but I mean, it's to a point. The guy brings nothing to the game. What does he bring? Like, does he bring energy? He doesn't bring a thing to the game. What is he? How does he contribute to the team?
He's not very good at his own end.
And doesn't put points up, and he's not physical. So those are your three attributes a player can bring.
But if we know that, everybody in the league knows that, it's going to be harder to move him, right?
But there are people that think that he's effective, an effective player.
Yeah, they will take him for a Stanley Cup run or whatever, but he's got 2 years left on his contract. It's going to be hard to move. I mean...
Well, that's why you're going to have to either throw a pick in or retain salary.
I don't mind a pick, because they did that with, what's his name, Dickinson, earlier in the season. They threw in a pick, which I wasn't too sold on with that either.
But it's moving salary. And I would rather throw a pick in than retain salary. I probably said earlier I'd rather retain salary, but I'm allowed to change my mind. Yeah. Because then you move out that contract. And it's gone.
Yeah, I would.
And you're better. And then he doesn't have to play, and we don't have to watch him give the puck up. And
I don't even care about he gives up the puck. It's the stupid penalty sometimes. Yes, it's just and he gets into. But when he plays with what's his name, Burrows, he seems to be better.
People talk about this guy and his size. Well, first of all, he's tall. He's not a big guy. He's tall. He's built like a basketball player. He's thin. He's skinny. And those guys have always
got girth.
No girth. And those guys without girth like that, tall, skinny guys always struggle. I don't care if you're forward or D, you always struggle. Eat a couple of pizzas, sit around the couch, and put some weight on.
Like you?
Like me, just like me.
You should be his trainer.
Exactly, because he would be a better player if he was 15 or 20 pounds heavier.
I could see that. Tyler Myers, I don't think you're going to move him, so I don't even think it's worth talking about it. Unless, come trade deadline, he's all of a sudden playing really well, then you might be able to move him. Oliver Ekman-Larsson, you're not going to move him. You got him, use him. Proper spots. He's not going to be your fourth line guy or third
pairing D.
Yeah, he's not. He's got to be second or in the first pair D.
I like that. So, it's a good pairing with him and Ethan Bear.
Right
now,
my
man, my boy Bear had the second highest ice time on the back end last night.
I didn't know you had.
He's my favorite Canuck.
Is he your favorite Canuck?
He's my favorite current Canuck, and it's not just because he's First Nation. It's because I love how the guy plays the game. He has fun, and he has fun out there.
Okay, we were supposed to talk about Tyler Myers. We got sidetracked into Ethan Bear. Okay, let's go into the coaching thing.
Well,
I got no problem with the coaching. He was good last year. What was that? What was that chant they were saying?
Bruce, there it is.
Bruce, there it is. So I have no problem. It's the same coach.
Yeah.
He's doing the same thing. It's just the players maybe not responding as well.
No,
I blame the GM. I'm sorry to cut you off. I blame the GM and what is it called, president there. They didn't improve the D, and you knew if everything stayed the same, Demko was good, they would be better. But Demko, had he's off his game right now. He's not saving their ass. Like, they still gave up like 30, 40 shots every game last year.
Because Demko was the difference in winning and losing those games.
So you can't rely on the goalie.
Well, that's what Jim Rutherford said. You can't rely on the goalie, but
he never improved the defense.
No, he didn't. So. And I'm a huge Bruce Boudreau fan. I love the fact that he plays an up-tempo, offensive north-south game, trying to score goals. None of this sitting back, and you got to look at it. The front office talks about structure or lack of it. Basically, structure is just another word for they're not playing well enough defensively.
The structure, then you're criticizing your coach.
You are, and that's what it is. But,
I get it. They didn't hire him, so I get that.
But also, this team isn't built for that kind of hockey. This team is
they don't have the.
They're not built for a defensive hockey. This team is built to play offensive hockey. And I think that's clear when you watch Under the Green and then you watched early on last year that they're a team that's built to play offense. And front office can complain about Bruce's lack of structure all they want, but you have to have a team that can play that. And I've been very critical that they haven't been behind Bruce. I mean, look what he did last year. He turned this team around, and they almost...
Because he realized the players he has, that's the way you got to play.
Well, also that's how Bruce coaches.
Yeah.
But how management didn't support him last year. This is a coach that almost made the playoffs with a train wreck of a team.
Yeah, I can understand why he only got a 1-year contract, because they gave Green a 5-year contract?
They didn't give Green a 5-year.
Well, not them, but the general manager at that time gave him a 5-year contract. Personally, I didn't like Green to begin with.
But
I know Trevor Linden's your boy and everything. He was a part of that, and I'm sorry, but that goes a bit on him with what's his name, Benning there. So,
well, I guess right now, looking at it, there's times they could have, if they're going to relieve Bruce of his duties. There's been numerous times they could have. No. I think that the Canucks, several times, the players on this roster have saved his job. I guess I look at it right now. Is he going to get fired? I'm less certain now than I was a month ago or even 3 weeks ago.
I don't think so.
But I think what is the purpose of firing the coach and bringing in another interim coach, for the rest of this year? I don't think you're going to get who you want to be your long-term coach mid-season like this.
Well, personally, coaching, I think is you just don't got the defenseman, and the goaltending is okay. It's not great.
But the goaltending made Boudreau look good last year.
Yeah, it made him look
great.
But
that being said, I love the way the guy plays.
I like the way the Canucks are playing offensively this year.
Yeah, well, that's how Bruce coaches a game that is, as a fan, that is fun to watch. Yeah. It might not shut down playoff hockey, but man, it's exciting to watch.
I don't think they're ready for playoffs.
No, exactly.
So if they make it to the playoffs, great. I'll be happy.
But the biggest thing is expectations are so high, and expectations were high with Bruce, and I expected them to start off better than they did, losing their first 7, but.
Yeah, the fact that they held leads all those games, it's just like that was the most frustrating part about it.
Bruce is, I'm a big fan of his, always will be. I hope he can save his job this year. As I said, I think if he was going to be fired, he would have been fired. I don't see the purpose of firing him now. You're not going to save the season, so just run him out for the rest of this year and see what happens. And if you want to make a coaching change come the off season, you can do so. But let Bruce keep his job.
All right. Last thing I want to touch on is this thing about Brock Boeser. Right? They were going to make him a healthy scratch on Cancer Fights Day. His dad died of cancer and all this stuff. I thought that was in poor taste, and I know I get it. It's Boudreau's decision or whatever. Luckily, he played, and then you find out later from was Elliot Friedman. They gave his agent, the right to go and facilitate a trade, and I'm like, what are you guys doing? That's basically giving up on the guy. You're diminishing whatever else you could get for him. Basically, you're saying, we can't trade this guy. He's untradeable. You guys try to work out a deal.
Well, to start with, I've never understood how, if a team can't move a guy, how can his agent
But
find a deal?
that's so stupid.
It is, and I'm a big fan of Brock. I guess we like Brock for the story, and we feel for him. But the bottom line is, this guy's a one-dimensional player, and that one dimension is scoring goals. And if he doesn't score goals,
I'm not even talking about Brock Boeser. I'm just saying the general manager and the president, just like saying, this is the second time this year they let the agent tell the agent, you go find a facilitator trade, and we'll do it. Basically, you're not going to get nothing for the guy.
No, every team knows
this guy's a first-round draft pick.
Yeah, absolutely.
So now, even if you got a trade offer, you're gonna get nothing. You're gonna get cents on the dollar.
You'd be better off at this point just to hold on to him.
Well, now you can't. You have to hold on to him now because you've just said we don't want him.
Yeah.
You guys trade him for whatever you guys can get. It's just like the second time they did it with DiPietro. That's a different situation, but still, you're the general manager. You make the deal. Don't say, "Oh, the agent will let you guys come back to us."
Like I said, I've never understood how that works. How can an agent make a deal?
Well, agent goes in there. Basically, he's begging, "Please take my player."
General manager doesn't do that.
Yeah, but no, the general manager is different. He's like, I want that player. I'll give you this guy. He's not like, take Brock Boeser. Give me whatever you want. Give me a bag of pucks. Maybe he said that, but I don't know. Maybe they're gold-plated pucks or whatever. But I just think that's a bad tactic, and they've done it twice this year. And I'm like, it diminishes what you're going to get for that player. We got basically nothing for DiPietro. What's his name? Stanika or whatever his name is.
Yeah, and a guy playing in Sweden.
Yeah.
But look at DiPietro's now playing in Maine in the East Coast Hockey League.
Whatever.
Stanika, I'd rather Stanika than. But no, I understand what you're saying. It's
I just didn't like the way it's handled. Like, if you're a general manager, you make the deal.
Well,
you don't give it to the agent. Agent, you make your own deal. What's going to Pedersen's agent come? You know what? You let that guy. I got a deal for him to go to Pittsburgh.
Yeah. There was so much fanfare coming in with Boudreau and the new front office and Rutherford in particular, and I'm starting to wonder about Rutherford now. As he said,
My thing is, we heard so much about JT Miller going up to the trade deadline, this trade, that trade. They didn't pull a thing. They re-signed him. I have no problem with them re-signing him. He hasn't played all that well this year, whatever. But you can't let agents make deals.
Dictate. Yeah, I think the reason that they signed Miller when they did was his agent had said, "Look, we're not gonna." There had been no negotiation. His agent says, we're not going to negotiate during the season. And coincidentally, several days later, they had a deal done. Now they're allegedly not even talking with Bo's representatives. Are they going to move Bo?
I don't know.
People keep saying, I think a deal will get done. Well...
Yeah, you can't do a deal unless you clear up salary cap.
Well, also, both sides have to communicate to get a deal done.
Yeah, I think a deal that you could have signed in the offseason, you can't sign it with the way Bo's playing right now. He's going to ask for more, and he already knows that you don't want him here. So he goes on the open market, he's going to get more than he gets.
Absolutely, it's going to happen. I think there's no doubt in my mind they'll move him. It's just a lack of communication.
Well, that's what my point was.
Lack of communication with agents.
That was the point with the Boeser situation, is that they're not handling it right. In my opinion, I mean, maybe they got some magic ball. They've done it They've done it for, I don't know how many years, 20 years you're saying he's done that stuff. So maybe he knows what he's doing. But anyway, that's the end of our podcast today. Hopefully you guys will subscribe and like our videos here. If you do, leave some comments down.
Leave some comments and some questions, and we hope that this...
And hopefully we haven't pissed you off.
Yeah, I like to poke the bear. Hopefully this will be successful enough, and there'll be episode 2.
All right, bye.